What would you do if your own father told you not to come home because you'd embarrass the family? That's exactly what happened to Sarah, and what she did next will shock you. Picture this: you're 32, successful, running your own company, but to your family, you're invisible. While your sister gets praised for everything, you're just the one who pays the bills. Sound familiar? Well, Sarah's story is about to change everything you think you know about family loyalty. Sarah lived just outside Boston, had her morning espresso routine down to a science, and co-founded a biotech company that was actually changing lives. But here's the kicker: her family had no clue what she really did. To them, she was just Nicole who works with computers or something. Meanwhile, her older sister Emma was the golden child. Every family gathering was the Emma show, and Sarah. She was basically furniture. For 2 whole years, Sarah had been quietly covering her parents' bills. We're talking about $16,000. Electric, water, internet, cable, you name it, she paid it. Every single month, like clockwork. Did they ever say thank you? Not once. Did they ever ask if she could afford it? Never. They just assumed she'd handle it because, well, that's what Sarah did. Now here's where it gets interesting. Sarah's mom was having a birthday party, and Sarah planned to take time off work to help out like she always did. She calls her dad to let him know she's coming, and this is where everything falls apart. Her dad's response: "Don't come home this year." Why? Because Emma was bringing her new boyfriend, some hotshot finance guy, and Sarah's presence would make things awkward. Can you imagine? Your own father telling you that you're an embarrassment to the family. But wait, it gets worse. When Sarah pushed back, her dad delivered the final blow: "If you insist on coming, then don't call me your father." Click. He hung up. Just like that, 32 years of being his daughter meant nothing. Most people would have cried, screamed, or begged. But Sarah. She did something brilliant. She opened her laptop and canceled every single automatic payment she'd been making for her parents. $16,000 worth of bills. Gone. Just like that. The birthday party arrives, and guess what happens? The power goes out. No electricity, no water, no internet. The house is in complete chaos, guests are arriving, and nobody knows what to do. Sarah's phone starts blowing up. Her mom: "Sweetheart, can you check the power for us?" Her dad: "Call the providers now." Emma: "Mom's about to cry, what's going on?" But here's the plot twist that nobody saw coming. Remember Emma's fancy boyfriend that Sarah wasn't good enough to meet? His name was David, and he worked in finance. Well, Sarah's scrolling through some work emails when she sees a familiar name on a transfer request. David Martinez. New employee. Transferring to Boston. Position: Senior Finance Manager. And guess who had to approve the transfer? That's right, Sarah, the co-founder. The universe has a sense of humor, doesn't it? So David shows up for his first day at work, walks into Sarah's office, and his face goes completely white. He recognizes her from a conference they met at months ago, but now he's realizing she's not just some random employee, she's his boss. The woman his girlfriend's family didn't want at their party. She's literally the person who approved his job. Meanwhile, back at the birthday disaster, Sarah's aunt calls her on video chat, trying to figure out what's happening. The whole family's gathered around the phone in their dark, powerless house when David walks into frame. He sees Sarah on the screen and blurts out, "Sarah. You're Sarah Chen, the co-founder of Pacific Genomics, right?" Dead silence. You could hear a pin drop. Emma's jaw hits the floor. The parents freeze. All those relatives who thought Sarah was just some desk jockey suddenly realize she's been running a multi-million-dollar company this whole time. Sarah just smiles calmly and says, "Hope your introduction goes well today." Then she hangs up. Can you imagine the chaos in that kitchen? Emma, who spent years being the successful daughter, just watched her boyfriend call her embarrassing sister his boss. The parents who thought Sarah wasn't impressive enough to introduce to guests just learned she's more successful than they ever imagined. The messages start flooding in. Emma's panicking because David doesn't know how to react. Her mom's crying. Her dad's red-faced and angry. But Sarah. She's at home, sipping tea, finally feeling free. Here's what happened next. David sent Sarah an email apologizing and explaining that he was ending things with Emma. Not because of Sarah, but because he finally saw what kind of family he was getting involved with. A family that would exclude their own daughter for not being presentable enough. Emma tried to get Sarah to talk to David, to convince him to stay. But Sarah wasn't interested in cleaning up anyone else's mess anymore. She'd spent years being the family's unpaid problem solver, and she was done. Then came the final test. About a week later, Sarah's parents showed up at her door. Not to apologize, mind you, but with a proposal. They wanted her to start sending them $2,000 a month for living expenses. Can you believe it? After everything they'd put her through, they still expected her to be their personal ATM. Sarah's response was genius. She said she'd consider it under two conditions: Emma had to contribute equally, and Sarah would inherit everything when they passed. You know, like a real investment with real returns. Her dad exploded, accusing her of being ungrateful. But Sarah held her ground. She told them straight up, she didn't owe them anything. If they wanted financial support, it would be on fair terms, not as some obligation she had to shoulder alone. They left angry and never contacted her again. And honestly, Sarah was relieved. Look, I know some of you might think Sarah was too harsh. Family is family, right? But here's the thing, real family doesn't exclude you for being embarrassing. Real family doesn't take your generosity for granted. And real family definitely doesn't make you feel invisible while praising everyone else. Sarah didn't seek revenge. She didn't expose anyone or cause drama. She simply stopped enabling people who didn't respect her. She set boundaries, chose self-respect, and refused to let her kindness be mistaken for weakness. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away from people who only value you when they need something. Sometimes loving yourself means disappointing people who never appreciated you anyway. Sarah's story reminds us that we teach people how to treat us. If you accept being treated as less than, that's exactly what you'll get. But when you finally stand up and say, enough, everything changes. So what do you think? Was Sarah right to cut ties with her family, or should she have kept trying to make things work? Have you ever been in a situation where you had to choose between family expectations and self-respect? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories. If Sarah's journey resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life stories that'll make you think. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply know your worth and refuse to settle for less. And remember, you're not alone in whatever you're going through.